Morning, this is Brian. Today is Saturday, December the 4th, 2021. I am parked here on Morris Ranch Road in the Jacinto Mountains. Today, planning on hiking up the Cedar Springs Trail. Right over here, it's gonna lead up to the crest of the desert divide of the Jacinto Mountains. So here we are, about 5,450, 5,500 feet. So, Cedar Springs Trail, we go through these gates. We just make sure we open them and then we close them, because the trail's going to cut up this way, up towards the Pacific Crest Trail, which runs along the spine of the desert divide of the Jacinto Mountains. So this trail here looks like it's a public easement through some private property. So just whatever you do when you're here, just make sure you don't leave the trail, especially down here. Now, my plans today include trying to get up to the PCT and turning south on the PCT, trying to hit some peaks along the way. So this will be my longest hike I've done since my hiking accident back in June of 2019, if I decide to go all the way to Lion Peak, which will be along the southbound portion of the PCT. Left my house nice and early this morning. Left just a little bit after 4:30. It's about 7:30 right now. It takes quite a while to get here, and plus the 74, I took the 91 from Orange County to the 15 down towards Lake Elsinore, got off on the 74, so I was, instead of going west like I would to the Santa Ana Mountains, you go east. But then the 74 gets cut off by the 215. So you have to drive on the 215 to get back on the 74. My mistake was going north on the 215. You're supposed to go south on the 215 to get to the 74 heading east through Hemet up towards this area. So that was my mistake this morning, and it cost me quite a bit of driving. Not to mention, it's hard to see the road signs this morning because down that way the fog was terrible, and it was still pitch black out. So driving this morning was a pain, real pain. So it took me so dang long to get up here. It took me almost 3 hours, more like 2.5. Well, it's the first time I've been to this part of the Jacintos, hiking wise. I've driven on 74 in Garner Valley a few times, so I've done that. I've actually driven all the way to Palm Desert on the 74. So 74 itself in the Jacinto range is not uncharted for me. It's just sometimes it gets confusing when you're trying to link it from the Lake Elsinore area. Next time, I got to get to the 74 heading through Hemet. I think I'm going to try to go to the 15, maybe cut across, maybe be able to cut across Van Buren and Riverside in that area to the 215 and just go south. So I don't have to go through these surface streets to link up to the 215. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So, as you notice, the vegetation here is a little bit different than you normally see on my hikes. We're red shank chaparral, Adenostoma sparcifolium. Not one of the most common shrubs in the world, but where it grows, it can grow very commonly. So this is going to be a quite interesting hike, not only because this is my first time doing this portion. It's because there's a lot of botanical awesomeness here that I haven't really shown on a lot of my videos. Kind of similar to how it is in the lower parts of the Santa Rosa Mountains, especially in the northern part before it becomes mostly a desert range, as we're heading up from 74 up Santa Rosa Mountain Road. It's kind of similar in scenery, and I did have a few surviving clips I found from that hike, so I've uploaded a couple of videos from when I was up in the pine, fir, and cedar forest along the higher portions, and a couple of areas lower down, mostly around 6,000 feet, where it was, I say 6,000 to 6,200 feet, where it was red shank, chamise, occasional pinyon pine, lots of canyon live oak, so it's quite similar. The trail. Alright, so I guess the trail, as the sign says there, arrows left. And I got extra memory cards. I have a feeling I'm going to end up probably going through at least one card today. I have at least two extra cards, I think. So I just have a feeling this is going to be quite a fun day. Alright, see, how do we open this gate? So, I guess the trail's right here. Okay. So, just seeing lots of interesting stuff here today. I think this is Fremont silk tassel. I know there's silk tassel here. The only time I've ever seen Fremont silk tassel has been in the San Jacinto Mountains. And that was on the Devil's Slide Trail, just above Humber Park, like 6,700 feet. First time I ever saw Fremont silk tassel. So, trees, lots of plants I expect to see today, besides red shanks that you already saw. Cupleaf ceanothus, Ceanothus perplexans, and here's pale silk tassel. This is definitely Garrya flavescens. This one, it's got a lighter bluish color. Fremont silk tassel is a little greener, so we might have both here. I got highleaf redberry. I'm expecting to see lots of canyon live oak, Quercus chrysolipus. That's going to be probably commonplace. It's going to be mostly a chaparral ascent. Most of this hike is going to be in chaparral today, even along the 6,600 to 7,000 foot crest I'm going to get up to. I think too many fires have burnt the chaparral burnt the what might have been conifer forest to a crisp. So I don't expect to be hiking in a lot of pine and fir forests today. So, there might be some conifers here and there, but this is mostly going to be a chaparral hike today. That's okay with me. I love chaparral very much. Now, one thing I remember reading about the trail reviews, trail's rocky, and it very much is. So just keep an eye on where you're stepping. Alright, so other plants I expect to see today. Brown spine, aka Mojave prickly pear, Opuntia phaeacantha. That should be along with me. And we got hollyleaf cherry, Prunus ilicifolia. And we're just a little above 5,500 feet, so that's the highest I've seen hollyleaf cherry thus far. A couple other plants I noticed as I was kind of looking around. I've noticed Perry's bear grass, or Perry Nolina Perry. I've seen some Mojave yucca, Yucca scadigera. I don't know how far up they'll continue to be found, but we'll see. I know Perry Nolina and redshanks, we'll find them to a little bit above 6,000 feet. There's a cow. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shut down the video, get through this gate, and keep climbing. We'll see. Like there's some cattle over there. I just got to be careful, make sure I don't get them all riled up when I go through here. See you on the next clip. Hello, this is Brian again. So I'm just a little ways up past that gate. Wow, one thing about this little canyon here, beautiful canyon live oak woodland. Oh, you might have heard me mention on some of my videos how canyon live oaks form these multi-trunk thickets that come from a huge root burrow. And I always wanted to show you what the root burrow looks like of these clonal rings. So this is all one from one root system. Here's the evidence. These aren't rocks. These are roots. This is all one massive lignotuber or root burrow. So you can see these are not stones. That's bark and roots from these huge lignotubers. That's why a lot of these canyon live oaks look like, as I said in one video, shrubs on steroids. I think is what I called them in one of my videos. I think it was one of the Cedar Canyon hikes from March 2021. I think it was the last clip of that video set mentioned about canyon live oaks forming these clonal rings, and there's the evidence of their monster root crowns. You can call them root crowns, root burrows, lignotubers. There's a lot of Rhus aromatica along here. Skunk brush. So next year's flower buds. Those are the flower buds that'll open up in April or whenever. You can refer to that video for more about that poison oak looking plant, which is not what it isn't poison oak, but it's quite a close look-alike. Right now it's December, so they're all leafless right now. So if you see the little tips with those little buds on them, you know it's not a poison oak twig. Poison oak doesn't preform its flower buds. So it's a beautiful canyon here. Some nice, decent-sized canyon live oaks. It's probably the only place you're going to see shade on this entire hike. I don't expect to be seeing a lot of shade. It's when you start heading up toward the ridge, it's going to be very exposed. Don't be surprised if this is a very long video set. Oh, I thought this was poison oak at first. It looks like it. Let me see. Now this appears to be a California box elder maple. Okay, well, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, Acer negundo subspecies californicum. Haven't done a spotlight on this one yet. But yeah, I was thinking this was poison oak at first. The leaves on box elder maples can look like poison oak, well, especially when they have 3 leaflets. But a telltale sign, as you can see, the leaves and twigs are oppositely arranged. Poison oak is alternately arranged. They alternate on both sides of the twig. We've got a small population of box elder. Okay, well, the botanical interest just went up another tenfold. I did not expect that. I didn't know if box elder lived in the San Jacintos, but apparently it does. It's a small little pocket of them. There's another one right there. Mostly leafless, so you're not going to get a lot of leaves to tell by. But at first I was thinking, I thought it was poison oak. The color of the twigs, spot on. But then I looked closer and saw the oppositely arranged twigs and leaves, whatever dried up leaves are left on it. So I had my confirmation there. Poison oak would also be leafless this time of year, except in the warmest areas they might still be shedding their leaves. But this area, I think, gets good cold air drainage, so most stuff sheds early. There's a lot of coffeeberry. And I've seen multiple subspecies, it looks like, here too. This is Frangula californica. Trying to see. It looks like subspecies cuspidata. The only one I've done a spotlight on. Further down, there are some darker, shinier green leaf ones that appear to be Frangula californica subspecies californica. So we get multiple subspecies of coffee berries over here as well. So if you're a botanist, professional, amateur, or just interested in plants, this hike is off to a very awesomely interesting start. Absolutely splendid scenery out here. I'm still seeing a hollyleaf cherry too, occasionally. So I wonder how high that's going to come up with me. I wonder if, I know we're definitely probably anywhere between 5,600 and 5,700 feet, so I did see, look like one hollyleaf cherry off in the bushes. So makes me wonder how high they come up here. I think we got more box elders in the canyon there. Now we're starting to leave the canyon bottom, or the gully I should say. So we're going to start seeing more of a shrubby community picking up probably soon. I've seen other people's videos on YouTube about the Cedar Springs Trail, and it's always looked like an awesome hike, but it's always much better when you do it yourself. Yeah, we got more Acer negundo subspecies californicum over here. Yeah, so right there, that deciduous tree right there is another box elder. So I guess this canyon has them. if I remember correctly, I thought I saw a road near the end of the paved portion of this Morris Ranch Road, and there was a street called Box Elder Lane or something. Now I'm thinking it's quite an apt name for it. Here's some populations of this plant. A lot of animals this morning. Cottontails. Luckily right where I was at that gate, luckily the cattle just went off in the canyon live oak woodland. I didn't know if they were gonna start acting up and getting aggressive, especially there was a little calf with them, so I went through that very slowly. Okay, so looks like we're at another public easement here. So as tempted as I am to go check out that box elder grove down there, I'm gonna not, and I'm gonna stay on the trail, because I think both sides of this is private property. So I'm gonna just stick to the trail. It's probably the best bet. But yeah, that's a whole grove of box elder maple. Yeah, the leaves look more like ash because they're compound. They look more like ash leaves than maple leaves. So one of the common names is ash leaf maple, and its seeds are in keys. Maple seeds are in keys, but unlike ashes, maple seeds are paired at the seed. The wing seeds, or samaras, are paired, whereas ash samaras are singular. Wow, didn't expect box elder maple to be a factor today. And then got a lot of confusing scrub oaks out here. I know Wayne's Word at palomar.edu and tchester.org, they talk about a lot of the scrub oaks here in Southern California. Very confusing sometimes. It's not confusing because this is an interior live oak right here, Quercus wilsonii verdifrucescens. There are a lot of scrub oaks here that have very narrow leaves. Some of them look like they might have Mueller scrub oak DNA, Quercus cornelius muelleri. I know that's been vouched here in the San Jacintos. There, I can see the switchbacks of the Cedar Springs Trail up ahead. That's when we're going to start climbing up towards the ridge up there. Now, depending on how many peaks I hit today, the first one will certainly be Little Desert Peak. Once you get up to the Desert Divide up there, when you get to the junction of the PCT and Cedar Springs Trail, Little Desert Peak is almost immediately to your south. Oh, and we got a type of barberry up here too. Oh yeah, we got a population of barberry. Now my dumb behind forgot to memorize the difference between Berberis pinnata subspecies pinnata and Berberis aquifolium variety dictyota, both of which are native here in Southern California. This is, I think this is Berberis aquifolium variety dictyota, the one with the duller leaves, I believe. I think this is Berberis aquifolium variety dictyota. Berberis used to be in the genus Mahonia. I don't know if Nevin's barberry is up here, Berberis nevini. That's supposed to be found here in Riverside County, but I don't know if it's vouchered in this area, or if this high of elevation. I mean, we're still, I think, a little below 6,000 feet. There we go. Population of barberries. I very rarely see these plants on the trail. Very rarely. In all the places I've been, the only place I've seen this in the wild before was along Middle Peak Fire Road in Cuyamaca Rancho State Park. Not that far up from the junction of Highway 79. But I think this is Berberis aquifolium variety dictyota. If I find out differently, I will most certainly leave a comment or something in the description to that effect. There's a whole population of it here. I wouldn't be surprised if both species are present here, but usually these are not very high growing shrubs. They're usually pretty low growing, almost like somewhat upright ground covers, if that makes any sense. Usually they kind of look like this, kind of like what we're seeing here. I gotta say, it's turning out to be monumentally more interesting than the already interesting hike I expected. I mean, way more interesting than what I expected. I already expected it to be interesting as heck, but this is just like a whole new level of the game. So once I get those Berberis species squared away, then I'll be able to do a spotlight on, start doing a spotlight on them. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to conserve some power, at least some memory space, and probably won't be long before I have another video clip coming up. I expect I'm going to probably have a really big series today. I'll see you on my next clip, and like I said, expect this one to be a lot of clips. Like I said, I don't have good editing software right now, and if I did, this would probably be like a 2.5 or 3 hour video. So I'll see you on part 3. We'll see what's going on up that way. Hello, this is Brian again. Welcome to the next clip. We're getting ready to, looks like we're getting ready to start going up the switchbacks. I just saw a sign probably a few hundred feet back stating 1.5 miles to the PCT, 2.5 miles to Cedar Spring. Now I'm ready to hit the switchbacks. I'm about to go out in the open sun very soon. Well, once I get up towards the crest. Just before hitting that, get another canyon area right here. More box elder and some very nice meaty canyon live oaks. Very nice rugged live oaks over here. So if you're a big fan of our native oaks, well, it's definitely a trail that you will like, most certainly. I know I'm loving this trail. Some of these canyon live oaks are quite large. Alright, so now the climb up now begins. I should be in the exposed sunny areas very soon. I only brought this jacket with me today just in case I'm out past dark and it gets icy cold. It's actually nice and comfortable right now. Believe it or not, actually breaking a slight sweat. Very slight. Nothing insane. Must be wild grape around here. See these leaves right here? Those are indications of Vitis Gerdiana. I'm still seeing hollyleaf cherry too. I don't know, but I think I might have cracked 6,000 feet already. I'm still seeing hollyleaf cherry too. Definitely the highest I've ever seen it before. Never seen it very high above 5,000 feet previously. I've seen it maybe like 5,200 feet along the Strawberry Peak Trail. But yeah, we're still getting hollyleaf cherry this high up. That's pretty neat. I think we have cracked 6,000 feet already though. So gets hollyleaf cherry, grows up quite a bit higher than I thought it did. I was wondering if there's going to be any Nolina up here, but I know there were some down in the canyon. Up here, it's predominantly the agave and succulents and relatives. It seems to be predominantly chaparral yucca, Hespero yucca whippley. Again, still seeing some hollyleaf cherry up here. I do believe we are above 6,000 feet. So, hollyleaf cherry is one tough shrub. Haven't done a spotlight on that one yet. I want to do it when there were a lot of cherries on the bushes, but I don't think they produced too much this year and kind of missed the boat on it. So now we're hitting the switchbacks now. So now the rest of this hike's going to be warm and sunny, probably for the rest of the day. I keep feeling like I hear like the moan of a cow or something, but it's my backpack rubbing on my back. So, up the switchbacks we go. Here we got Ceanothus perplexans. A couple of Ceanothus. Probably going to see a lot of that today. Already seen a bit of it. Definitely come up several hundred feet, it looks like. So, yeah, I should be above the 6,000 foot contour now. Way down there is where Morris Ranch Road is. Gotta be careful where I point this camera so I don't get the sun in everybody's eyes. Wow, sure is a beautiful trail. More birch leaf mountain mahogany. Again, more Prunus alicifolia. Awesome hollyleaf cherry. If this were a north or east facing slope, I highly doubt we'd see it this high up. It's probably because this area gets sunny and hot. Probably why we're still seeing it. The other side is different, probably. I think that's Mojave yucca right there. But we also got to look out for Perinolina. So, there's a lot to look out for on this hike. There's the canyon just down there, where it was just incredibly scenic. There's like a little lake down there. I think it's probably on that Camp Joe Sherman that you pass on the way up Morris Ranch Road. This is a scenic hike. Alright, here we go. It's another switchback. I notice when you have a trail that switchbacks a lot, I don't know if any of you have noticed this, but switchbacks, a couple things I notice about switchbacks. One thing that is usually quite obvious is the fact that switchbacks can be long and tedious, but they do take steepness off the grade. They add more mileage, but they take steepness off the grade. But also, switchback trails tend to be steepest right by a switchback. That's what I've noticed. Like, I'll be cruising along normally like now, and then we'll get towards the next switchback, and then it gets kind of steep right by the switchback. I don't know. I've just what I've noticed. Just an interesting thing I've noticed when I'm hiking switchback trails. Haven't done a lot of switchback trail hiking in a while. That's absolutely stunning up here. Look at this. Beautiful red shanks up here. That's one plant I've yet to do a spotlight video on. It looks like there's more, might be more of it all the way up there too. And we're still hanging out with hollyleaf cherry. That's crazy. I didn't expect to find it this high up. Kind of glad to see it this high up. Always love seeing it, but it's just kind of neat to see it this high in elevation. I mean, we've got to be above 6,000 feet by now. Maybe not significantly above it. This trail is very gentle. This trail is very, very gentle. This isn't bad at all. So I was actually steeper down in the canyon. Over here, it's just pretty mellow, actually. There's still a few pines in that ravine over there. It's pretty cool. Well, I'm just going to keep switchbacking up. I'm sure there'll be something else to point out sooner or later. Can't wait to do a spotlight video on this plant. I think I'll either wait for it to flower in the spring, the hollyleaf cherry again. This is hollyleaf cherry. Either in the spring when the flowers come out, or late summer and early fall when the cherries ripen. Well, I'm gonna keep zigzagging around. I'll see you on the next clip. Hello, this is Brian again. Just a short distance up from where I left off. This is going to be more of a shorter clip, but yeah, I'm starting to see Perinolina in the mix. So you're thinking, oh, this just looks like one of those yuccas you pointed out earlier, the chaparral yuccas. Well, when they're small and squat like this, yes, they can easily be mistaken. However, what you'll notice is here's a chaparral yucca. You get these very straight inflorescences and these harder seed capsules that usually kind of rust to a grayish brown. Very large seed capsules on chaparral yucca. On Perinolina, the seed capsules are papery and lighter colored. Woo! So this is this is Nolina Perrii, Perry's beargrass or Perinolina. So as I'm climbing up these switchbacks, I've been starting to notice more of these. And then their leaves are also sharp tipped too, so be careful. However, their leaves kind of have a rough edge on them, a rough side. Chaparral yucca, let's see if I can touch this without pricking myself. Oh, chaparral yucca does too. Kind of has a rough edge. But when you see inflorescences that are often kind of wavy, sometimes a little crooked, and sometimes they get huge. When Perinolinas get huge inflorescences, and the plants themselves can get up to, like, I think 10-15 feet tall and have huge trunks on them. I think one of the best places to probably see them would be Joshua Tree National Park. They have huge ones over there. I've never been there, so I haven't seen them, but you see this inflorescence is a little crooked, and you can see here they have trunks that go above the ground. You can see there's a trunk there. It's kind of hidden hidden under the thatch of leaves. So if you're up here trying to separate Hespero yucca whippley, the chaparral yucca, from Perinolina, those things might be able to help you out. And I'm still seeing hollyleaf cherry. We're climbing up quite a ways, and I'm still seeing hollyleaf cherry. Here's another example. See how this is all clumped? This is another Perinolina right here, or Perry beargrass. As you can see, they do look very similar to chaparral yucca. But again, if you see these little papery seed capsules, and the seeds are not flat black discs on Perinolina, on Nolinas. Let's see something here. Ah, drat. I'm trying to see if I can see a seed. Seeds are light brown. See if I can brush it away. That little spot right there, that little brown spot, it's a rounded brown seed. Chaparral yucca seeds are flat black discs. So if you ever get confused, hopefully there'll be still some seed capsules on the plants to tell you. So this area is perfect because you can see the difference between chaparral yucca and Perinolina. Just one thing that's really amazed me on this hike so far is how much box elder maple grows down in that canyon, and how insanely high in elevation that I've been seeing these hollyleaf cherries, and I'm still seeing them. Absolutely amazing how high up these guys are here in the San Jacinto Mountains. We're got to be probably at least 6,200 feet by now. I'd never expected to see them this high up. So it's quite interesting to see them this high up in elevation. I'm going to be, I took a picture, and I'm going to put a voucher on CalFlora, because I have an account on CalFlora, and I like to put vouchers for plants that I see where I normally wouldn't expect to see them. Usually plants that are higher up than their typical elevation range. And we got highleaf redberry. I've seen this one above 6,000 feet several times though. That's Rhamnus ilicifolia. I see those above 6,000 feet. Not super often, but I've seen them as high as like 6,700, 6,800 feet in the San Gabriel Mountains before. You'll see a specimen or two on top of Granite Peak near Pacifico Mountain. There's one there. And then there's a couple specimens along the what was it? Where did I see them? Along the Pacific Crest Trail, going up from Vincent Gap, not towards Baden-Powell, but the opposite way. When you start going up the steep part behind the opposite side of the Mount Baden-Powell parking area, along that south-facing slope, there's some of those there, and that's near 6,800 feet. Yeah, probably cherries really are a lot tougher than I thought, because yeah, well, it gets very hot here probably during the summer. During the winter, when it's clouded in and fogged in, and it can snow like the dickens over here. Oh, and here we go. There we go. That's a Perinolina. They get like 3 times, 4 times this big in Joshua Tree, I heard. I've seen the pictures, but oh, those beautiful trunks. That's what I'm talking about right there. Nolina Perry beargrass or Perinolina. Absolutely beautiful. So it's just, oh yeah, noticed a few times I've been seeing a few flannel bushes too for Montodendron californicum. Been seeing a few of them here and there. Not surprised to see them this high up. I've seen them as high as 7,500 feet in the San Gabriel Mountains, so not surprised to see them this high up here either. I think I've seen them that high along Sherman Pass Road too, I think, in the southern Sierras. And still, highleaf cherry. The more I see it, the more I'm going to point it out, so just be prepared. I'm probably going to be pointing it out a lot. So if it's not your cup of tea, I do apologize, but just really interesting to see all these plants this high up. Looking at this manzanita here, I was almost going to say point leaf manzanita, Arctostaphylos pungens, but the leaves are not, I don't think the leaves are quite pointy enough at the tip. This might be some of these might be a subspecies of Perry manzanita, perhaps. Still have trouble with a lot of my manzanitas. But with all the video I'm recording today, be patient. It's going to take a while to upload all the video I have, so just be patient. I'm expecting this video set to be significantly more than 10 clips, so this probably take me the whole week to upload everything, because I go back to work on Monday. So just be prepared that I might be uploading these for a while. This is such an awesome trail, man. Yeah, see, always gets steepest near the switchbacks, and then it usually lightens up. Actually, a nice chunk of this doesn't even feel like you're climbing. I mean, unless if you were doing other hikes earlier and then decided to go up this, then you'd probably notice it more because you've been hiking a lot. We're climbing all right, but so gradual. I'm liking this. I know the The hike all the way to Lion Peak is supposed to be between 10 and 10.5 miles round trip. It's about a 200-foot gain. 2,000-foot gain. And it's rated as moderate by all trails. They say it's 8.9 miles, but Sierra Club says it's about 10 miles. 8.9, 10. A mile is a significant difference, I would say. Alright. Not seeing much more red shanks. It's mostly manzanita, flannel bush, yerba santa, Nolina, occasional Nolinas, chaparral yuccas, couple-leaf ceanothus, birch-leaf mountain mahogany. Yeah. Ah, here we go. Yeah. You know I'm going to talk about it. It's another hollyleaf cherry. Absolutely amazing how high these hollyleaf cherries are growing. It's absolutely amazing, to be honest. Probably because this is more of a south exposure here. Actually, quite a few of them over here. Wonder how high I'm going to see these. Chaparral yucca, you'll see that up to at least 8,000 feet on south-facing slopes. That's not a surprise. Nolinas, I know they go a little ways above 6K, but yeah, here's some more hollyleaf cherry right here. Hollyleaf redberry too. Once we get to the crest, I believe, when I checked on Google Earth, the elevation at the crest when we join the PCT is going to be somewhere in the 6,700 foot range. And then Little Desert Peak will be off to the right, just a short distance down the PCT. PCT might actually go right near the summit. Might just have to branch off and walk a little bit. But that's what it looked like. I was looking at the PCT on Google Earth. It looks like it goes right next to, maybe even almost exactly at the top. So it's almost like going all the way to the other peaks. Be summiting it by default. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give the camera a rest, get a new set of batteries in, and just keep on hiking. See you on the next clip. Look at that. Beautiful views. Sorry, it's a little shady. I'm just kind of scratching my arm, a little itchy this morning. Palomar Mountain out there in the distance. Well, I'll see you on the next clip. Thomas Mountain is over there going towards the slope here. Hello, this is Brian again. Welcome to the next clip. Well, I'm just about at the Pacific Crest Trail. Just about to meet it right now, actually. In fact, here it is. So, I am at the Desert Divide. So, elevation roughly about 6,700 feet. I think this might be where I take my first break, my first legit break to get some water. It's remarkably well graded switchbacks. Switchbacks make it a little tedious coming up in the sense that it feels like it goes on and on, but not gonna lie, really not that difficult coming up. It's not that steep. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be heading this way. This is the southbound, heading towards Mexico. So I'm going to be hiking along this. Little Desert Peak should be really close from here. Probably only maybe about 100, 150 feet higher than where we are right now. Pretty soon, once the shrubbery opens up, I should probably be able to see the desert coming up. So I'm just going to start heading up that way. Let's see if I can get a little sneak preview of what's going to be my viewpoint for a nice chunk of this hike. Oh yeah, I'm just going to come out to this little clearing here. Oh wow, yeah. It's a Palm. I don't know if that's Palm Springs or Palm Desert, but yeah, we're near the Palm Springs area, which should probably be a little bit more to the north, but it's the greater Palm Springs metro area down there. And you can see the little San Bernardino mountains and the mountains of Joshua Tree National Park over there. So this is the Desert Divide, ladies and gentlemen. First time I've ever been to the Desert Divide. And just over the hill a little bit, I see the top of a white fir tree. So just about 10 minutes ago, maybe about 10, 12 minutes ago, I saw my last hollyleaf cherry at about 6,600 feet. It was probably about 6,600 feet, maybe 6,550. Can't believe how high I've seen hollyleaf cherry up here. I didn't expect that, but I think it's probably about time for me to take a little water break or something, get some fluids in me, so I can stay hydrated. I haven't drank anything yet up here, so I think I'm gonna go sit on this rock. That bench looks a little too low. If I sit down on it, try to get up, it's gonna be no fun. Let's see. Maybe I'll see if I can hit Little Desert first. Little Desert should just be up over that way a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to sit down for a few minutes, and then I'll resume my hiking. Next stop should be Little Desert Peak, and that one's the same elevation as Lion Peak, 6,868. So it's kind of uncanny. Ooh. All right. This is a shorter clip. Just wanted to show you how close I was to the PCT. So I just got to follow it along here. Hit Little Desert Peak. My next peak after that should be, I believe, Pyramid Peak should be the next one. And then Peak 6880 and Pine Mountain will be after that. And then Lion Peak if I make it all the way over there. Well, I'll see you on my next clip. Hello, this is Brian again. I suspect I'm nearing Little Desert Peak. Probably very close to it. Like I said, I don't think the PCT is going to go exactly to the top of it, but from what it looked like on Google Earth, it's pretty close. Probably close to it right now, like really close. I might have to dip off the trail and walk for a couple minutes maybe to look around for it. probably going to be hard to find the actual summit, I would imagine. Let's see. Because it's not supposed to have a huge amount of prominence. Maybe about 100 feet on both sides, if even. It's not. I don't think it's a Sierra Club peak either. Let's see. Go up to the top of this little mound here and see what's popping. Let's see. I think this is it. I don't even assume that there's even going to be a benchmark or anything here. I think this is it. Yep, this is it. There's a summit register. So, just a few minutes of a walk from the junction of the PCT and the Cedar Springs Trail brings you right here to Little Desert Peak, 6,868 feet. Somebody did put a logbook in there, so that's pretty cool. So you can see the higher parts of the desert divide to the north. Obviously the main San Jacinto mountain mass over there in a little bit of the distance. And I can see red talkwish. Sorry the last clip cut out. Really irritated with myself about that. I accidentally hit a button. So here I am on Little Desert Peak. It's just not even a 2-minute walk. Not even a 1-minute walk from the PCT. PCT cuts around behind these shrubs here, these canyon live oak thickets. And here's Little Desert Peak. There's the logbook. So all I did is I just followed the PCT. PCT is just over there. I just branched off to the right and just walked up to this little pile of rocks. There's a summit register. And like I said, this peak doesn't have a lot of prominence. Maybe about 100 to 150 feet, I think, on both sides. Well, actually, on this side it's probably more just about 100 feet. The elevation on this peak is 6,868. It's actually the same elevation as Lion Peak, which I don't even think I could see from here yet. I think what we got here, believe that's Pyramid Peak right there. That'd probably be my next stop. And in that peak there in front of the Santa Rosas, I believe it's Pine Mountain. And there's a little peak there right in the center of the screen. That's peak 6880 plus. It's probably closer to like 6,910 feet. But it has a 6,880 foot contour ring there. I think it's, and there's another ridge over there, and I think Lion Peak will be behind it. So here I am on top of Little Desert Peak. First peak in the San Jacintos I have hiked since October of 2017, and that was Talkwish Peak. And yes, that's supposed to be how you pronounce it. It's spelled Tahquitz. A lot of people say Talkits or Talkwits or Tuckeets or Tuckweets, but I remember reading, I think it was it in one of John W. Robinson's book, maybe Trails of the San Bernardino Mountain Trails, or one of those hiking guides, the pronunciation is supposed to be Talkwish. Supposed to be like Taquish is the way it's supposed to sound. So you hear me here saying Talkwish, I'm talking about the peak with the lookout tower on it. Talkwish Peak would be, you see where these hills are here, it'd be one of those granite mountains kind of beyond. And over there, I believe, is not this big mountain mass in the background, but just below it there's another ridge. I believe that's Red Talkwish. I've been up to Talkwish, but I haven't been on Red Talkwish yet. So yeah, I recorded a clip coming up here, but I accidentally cut it off when I was talking about Red Talkwish. So I'm gonna just use this clip clip instead of that one. I'm going to delete that clip. I'm not going to use it. But, so basically, all you do is you just come right from the PCT. It's right over here. See the hedge of Canyon live oaks? The trail's right there. That's all you have to do to get to Little Desert Peak. Is just walk about 40 yards or so, and you're here on the top of Little Desert Peak. So if you're using the Cedar Springs Trail to the PCT to get to Pyramid and Pine, why not hit up Little Desert Peak? It's not even a you can get up here in less than a minute from the Pacific Crest Trail. The Pacific Crest Trail goes right next to the top of it. So if you're going for these other peaks like Pyramid and Lion and the other ones by heading southbound on the PCT, just take a momentary detour. Just come up here really quick. Like I said, I'll show you how fast it is to walk to the PCT. It's the same speed as I would be walking uphill, because it's very, very gentle sloping. See? Here's the trail. That's where I came from. That's where I'm heading. Head towards those peaks over there. So, yeah, that's all you gotta do. Just walk from here to there. So, I don't think it's supposed to be a very popular peak that I know of, but it's almost like a freebie peak if you're trying to get to these other ones. So, just take the freebie. This is basically a freebie. Just walk up to the top of those little rocks. Not even class 2. You just step over the rocks and you just watch where you're stepping. But it's easy as pie. This is probably the easiest peak here. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this clip as it is. I'm gonna go take a summit selfie up there, and then what I'm gonna do is get back on the trail, head right, start going along that way, along the spine here of the Desert Divide. I'll see you in the next clip. Hello, this is Brian again. So I'm hiking along the ridge, hiking along the PCT, a little ways past the Little Desert Peak right now. Right now what I'm looking for is Pyramid Peak. I suspect I'm near it. I'm pretty sure that's Pine Mountain right there. It's Pine Mountain. If you're going this way, Pine Mountain's going to be on your left. Pyramid Peak is going to be on the right. So I suspect it might be underneath it right now. However, I'm not 100% sure yet. Because since this is a Sierra Club peak, there probably will be some sort of a footpath. And I haven't seen anything that looks evidentiary of a use trail. So, and I got some black oak thickets along here too. Quercus kelloggi. So we got, and looks like western chokecherry. Yeah, I got some black oak thickets over here. So I got some little cherry thickets as well. So along the stretch of the PCT, there are most definitely some undulations. So on the way back, you will have a few uphills. Right now, I'm going relatively level going to be some level stretches, some easy stretches, and then some where you have a little steep uphill or a short, steep downhill pitch so far. So what I'm going to do, I guess I'm going to go to that saddle over there and see if there's a use trail going up this. Like I said, I suspect this could be the peak, Pyramid Peak. Pyramid Peak would be my second one. Like I said, I think that pointy one in the middle there is Peak 6880, and I'm pretty sure that's Pine Mountain right there. Just gotta keep looking out for duck use trails or whatever I could find. One thing though, you're gonna have a really insane view the whole way. Well, once you get past Little Desert Peak, back that way, you're gonna have some great views down into the low desert. Over there, that mountain in the distance, Martinez Mountain, the peak in the distance between what I suspect is Pine and 6880, that's Toro Peak over there in the Santa Rosa range. So let's see what happens. Like I said, you're going to have some ups and some downs, some level sections. So luckily along here it's not all steep one way. So it's just some steeper pitches like this, interspersed with some gentle undulations and some level terrain. Let's see what's going to come up over here. So, again, Pyramid is an HPS Sierra Club peak, so I am going to be looking out for rock ducks, or hopefully some semblance of a footpath. Usually the HPS peaks usually get enough traffic to wear down a footpath in the area. Let's see. I'm sure the path up to whatever pathway I take up to Pyramid is probably going to be wicked steep. So, trying to conserve some energy. You know, so I've not been putting out a lot of hiking videos. Today I decided to challenge myself to a double-digit length hike, roughly 10 or so mile hike, or potentially what could be that long. Kind of want to have the certainty that I'm breaking off the PCT in the right spot, especially because I don't want to expend a ridiculous amount of energy scrambling up something that doesn't lead anywhere that I'm trying to go. So let's see. So far I haven't seen anything that looks like a duck route or anything. From what I understand, the route to Pine, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's Pine right there. It's supposed to be probably the toughest one of the day because it's supposed to be very brushy and overgrown. This is where I gotta start looking for a use trail or something. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it's not that high up above the ridge here. Aha! I believe I found it. So, this is where the fun gets real. There's a duck right here. I believe this is going to be our HPS route to get up to the peak of Pyramid Peak. So now I'm going to drop my jacket off. It's just kind of weighing me down a little bit. I hope I don't do what I did on Strawberry Saddle in the Angeles National Forest and leave it like an idiot. But kind of need to lighten my load a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a water bottle with me. So I can keep hydrated on the way up. And I'm going to cut the video off here. What I'm going to do is just keep following the ducks. There's another one just up there. Basically going to probably just follow the path of least resistance. And I'll see you when I'm there. Hello, this is Brian again. So, still climbing up the ducked path. You see quite a few helpful ducks. There are a couple of sections where you're going to have to wade through some ceanothus. Just be aware. But it's passable. But like I always do, wear long pants, especially if you're doing cross-country hiking and off-trail travel and doing use trails. It's nothing severe, but you might, if you're wearing short sleeves like I am, you may get a few scrapes on your arm. I mean, it's nothing really that insane. Okay, so the ducks go up this small bit of talus. Trying to see. I suspect I might be getting near following the ducks. Definitely starting to tire out a little bit. Honestly, I'm glad I left my backpack and my jacket at the base of the Use Trail. Just retrieve them when I get back down the hill. Let's see. Let's keep following the ducks. Since I don't have a heaping ton of familiarity with this area, definitely glad to see rock cairns, rock ducks along the way up this. Wow, cool little grove here. Okay. Okay. This is where maybe some class 2 scrambling comes into play. Yeah, no more than class 2. Wow, a lot of talus up here. So I catch my breath for a minute. Almost here. Wow. You see down by, not that far from where I parked, it's down there. There's that little pond, a little camp over there. Let's see. Maybe go around. Let's see. Yeah. Just looking for the easiest way to get to the top. Alright. Just gotta climb that little outcropping there. Sorry if the sun's in the way or in the shot. Whoa. As always, watch your footing. Alright. Just walk up the slabs. Then watch, there'll be another hill over this. That'd be funny. Alright. I think this is it. Yep. Pyramid Peak. Elevation up here. Just a sliver above 7,000 feet. Probably more like, I think it's 7,035. I think it's the elevation of this one. Whoa. I wonder if there's a benchmark or anything up here. I'm not seeing one yet, but this is an HPS peak, Sierra Club 100 peak section. As you can see, pretty good views up here. See right over there, there's Little Desert Peak is right there. And there's the switchbacks, the Cedar Springs Trail that I went up, junction with the PCT. Going towards that way, that's going towards Palmview Peak, Apache Peak, Spittler Peak, Ansel Rock, South Peak. And once you go that way, once you go, I think, west. When you go west, I'm trying to think here. When you go north, I should say north of Phobes Saddle, take the Phobes Trail. if you go northbound the PCT, you need a wilderness permit to hit peaks like Apache, Spittler, South, Ants Hill Rock. You need a wilderness permit to go over there. It's part of the San Jacinto State Wilderness, or no, I think it's part of the San Jacinto National Forest Wilderness. State Wilderness is actually, I think, closer to the top of San Jacinto. The higher parts of the San Jacinto is over there. But great views up here. This peak doesn't have a humongous amount of prominence, but it's just sharp enough above the connecting ridge to give you some really, really, really awesome views. Let's see. I can see over towards the Palomar Mountain range over there. High point would be over there. Right over here, closer at hand, we got this ridge here. That's Thomas Mountain at 6,825, and that's I believe Little Thomas Mountain, like at 6,500-ish. Then we got Lake Hemet Reservoir down there. Then we got the 74, Highway 74, Garner Valley. Then, sorry the sun's in the way, but then we got Toro Peak. Toro Peak is that pointy one there, and that's Santa Rosa Mountain. And of course there's Pine Mountain, and that peak in the haze over there, that's part of Martinez Mountain. And that, I think that pointy peak right there is going to be Lion Peak. I think that's Lion Peak over there. Not 100% sure, but I think that's Lion Peak. Like I said, I've never been over here before, so don't really have a lot of frames for reference. And again, Pine Mountain is just visible over the brush. I swear, it's beautiful views up here. Absolutely stunning up here. Definitely highly recommend it. Even if you don't go all the way to Lion Peak, it's still worth coming up here. So yeah, there's a summit register, an old beat up can, Don Francisco coffee can right there, if you want to sign it. I don't see a survey marker up here, but I guess maybe there isn't. Well, again, this is a Sierra Club HPS peak, and the elevation I believe is 7,035. It's just a sliver above 7,000, as is Pine Mountain. Pine Mountain is, again, just a sliver above 7,000 feet. I think I'm just gonna work on my alkaline water here. Was this? No, electrolyte water. Electrolyte water. Work on that, sip on it for a few minutes, take a few summit shots, summit selfie, and then start carrying on with the next round. I'm going to see if I can make it to Pine Mountain. There's no guarantees because it's supposed to be kind of tricky to get up there with all the brush. Probably should be able to make it to peak 6880 though. I don't think that'll be too hard to do. But I'll see you on the next clip, and that'll be where I'm just somewhere along the PCT or getting near the next junction. Hello, this is Brian again. So, I've been a little ways down the PCT from Pyramid Peak. So, finding a couple of these barberries again, these berberis. Again, I think this is Berberis aquifolium variety dictyota. I said check the either the comments and or the description if I find out otherwise. But now I'm not that far from Pine Mountain, so now what I'm doing is looking to see if I can find a route to get up there. I haven't seen any route to get up there yet, but I keep seeing what looks like Lion Peak over, not here, but beyond a little ways. So let's see. Let's take a look around and see what's going on. I haven't seen any rock ducks on the side of the trail. A nice little somewhat shaded part right here. So here's something here. I don't know if this is going to be a use trail. This is probably one of those makeshift little campsites. Yeah, I don't think there's a use trail through here. Remember when I looked at the imagery, there's some type of pathway or fire break up and over Peak 6880, which we're kind of at the base of right now. Problem is, I didn't see where it led to on the PCT, if it even led onto the PCT. The reason why I say that is because it looks like there's a really narrow path. If I'm looking at Google Earth, and that path goes over Peak 6880. There's Pyramid Peak right there. That's where the peak I was just on a little while ago. Yeah, there was supposed to be a path that goes up and over Peak 6880. Then it seems to get lost in the shuffle as you're going to Pine. But I haven't seen any indications along here of any pathway going up over. Actually, for the last quarter mile, it's been canyon live oak and interior live oak thickets. So it's kind of like a wall of chaparral on both sides. So there's a good chance I might omit Pine today. I may omit that one. I was going to try to do Pine and 6880. I kind of wanted to at least get up to 6880. But I don't know where you would go off from that, and I'm not trying to get lost and tangled in these really thick canyon live oak thickets. That would really be counterproductive. So I think this is like a little makeshift primitive campsite here. It looks like. It looks like you can maybe fit a small tent. Maybe a small tent over here. So it'd actually be a pretty cool protected spot. It would keep you from getting overly cold at night because of the tree canopy holds in some of the day's heat. And probably help protect from a lot of the wind. These canyon live oaks are pretty sturdy. I'm sure it gets very windy up here. A lot of these ridge lines get very windy. So I was thinking about maybe going this way and trying to check it out, but I don't think there's a trail. No offense, I'm not trying to bushwhack through this. Canyon live oaks have really hard wood. But bushwhacking would be a very painful event, if not impossible. So I'm just gonna keep following the PCT. I think I'm gonna make a game time decision to skip Pine. Still debating whether I want to go all the way to Lion. wanting to go to that peak for a while. I know there's a southerly approach from Highway 74, where Highway 74 junctions with the PCT at the base of the Santa Rosa Mountains. You can follow the PCT going north, but that would be a extremely long hike. So let's see. I think this might be game day decision to skip out, because I don't see a duck route and I don't know the area extremely well. And if you go through here, it looks like it very quickly turns into a wall of live oak. And these things, these barberries, the leaves are very spiny and rigid like a holly. So if you scrape against one of those, it's going to hurt. The tips of them are very sharp. It's cool though. There's quite a bit of it along here, this portion of the PCT. So I suspect pine would be that one there, I think. But I'm not seeing any route to get there. Very highly doubt there's going to be a route cutting through here. You'd have to, you'd have to bushwhack. Yeah. I'm going to have to read a little more information about that if I want to get to Pine Mountain. It'll be my second Pine Mountain I've ever been on. Been on Pine Mountain in the San Gabriels, the big Pine Mountain, the large Pine Mountain, 9,648 feet. So, unless I see something on the way back and have enough energy left in the tank, I think I'm just going to go ahead and omit Pine for now. Start heading towards Lion, because it doesn't look like they're, from what I saw, I didn't see any pathway on this side of the trail that looks like it would lead up to at least up towards 6880. I mean, I've read that getting up to Pine is supposed to be kind of a bushwhack anyways. So I guess I'm going to make the game day decision just to keep heading towards Lion. So at least get 3 peaks out of the day. I was going to try to get up to 5 peaks, but it doesn't seem like, at least not that I can see now. This is something I would want to research more later. Maybe there is a really good way to get up there. I'll have to consult the maps and Google Earth imagery. Huh, interesting. Well, I'm starting to see more coulter pines. Oh, these are coulter pines over here too. A few coulter pines growing. And then we got California false indigo, Amorpha californica, variety californica. I've been seeing that periodically along the trail too, and also in a couple spots when I was scrambling up to Pyramid Peak. You'll find it. Right now it's in its winter leafless stage, so they're all dormant for winter. They're deciduous. I mean, there are quite a few deciduous species found along this trail. Like I said, here's Amorpha californica, variety californica. Has some old dried leaves on it. They're pinnately compound. And they're very late to leaf out. Up here, I bet you probably don't even leaf out till like the end of April or even May. False indigos, even Amorpha fruticosa, the one we find in the lower elevations, doesn't leaf out till later than most of the other deciduous shrubs and trees. But as for other deciduous shrubs and trees, I've been noticing a lot of this. It's Amelanchier utahensis, Utah serviceberry. I've been noticing quite a bit of that. Periodic thickets of what I believe is bitter cherry. I didn't see any fruits, any old fruits or fruit stalks to determine whether it's western chokecherry, Prunus virginiana, variety demissa, or Prunus marginata, bitter cherry. I suspect they're Prunus marginata. Or maybe not all of them. It might be a mix of both of them, but I've seen that. Here's more Amelanchier utahensis, Utah serviceberry. There's quite a bit of that up here too. And I've been noticing snowberry. It's a small kind of creeping shrub in the honeysuckle family. I believe it's parish snowberry. So for Carpos, for Tundifolius varieties parishii. So on the way back to the Cedar Springs Trail, there's going to be quite a bit of ups and downs. So I suggest pacing yourself. This part of the PCT is actually kind of rocky, so just be careful. I'm surprised I couldn't find a route to get up to 6880. Could have sworn there was like a pathway up along the way up to it. Oh well. That would have given me at least a fairly fighting chance to ascend Pine if I wanted to get there. But I know after I get to Lion Peak, I'm probably not going to want to climb up anything else. So Lion Peak will be my ultimate destination. Probably last peak climb, because I'm going to be doing some ups and downs along this trail on the way back. Especially between Lion and Pyramid, and just after Pyramid. I think what I need to do is find a place to sit down. I haven't sat down since much earlier when I got up to the PCT Cedar Springs Junction, Cedar Springs Trail Junction. I'm actually getting kind of tired. Got a pretty heavy pack today. Considering that I was been out of shape, make sure to have some extra water and a few snacks, which I think I'm gonna dig into pretty soon. So that looks like pine right there. That's very heavily clothed in manzanita, live oak. Probably seeing this up the wazoo. So it's probably one of the more difficult peaks here to get to. It's about the same elevation as Pyramid. It's a little over 7,000 feet. I think it's 7,024. Barely over 7,000, regardless. I think Pyramid is by a few feet, is the highest of the peaks I'm climbing today. Or climbing / wanted to climb today. So I didn't make it up to Pine. And there's a pinyon pine. Looks like from here, it looks like a Pinus quadrifolia. Perry pinyon, I think. Can't really get close enough to it. Yeah, I think it looks like Pinus quadrifolia, Perry pinyon. So found here in the San Jacintos, down through the Peninsula Ranges in San Diego County, especially in the Lagunas. Laguna Mountains in San Diego County, near Stevenson Peak, Monument Peak, Burnt Rancheria Campground. Those areas, that's where you are going to be finding more of the Perry pinions. It's a tree I've only seen a few times. Ooh, here's a beautiful canyon live oak thicket. Well, I'm going to go ahead and shut down for now. Keep hopping along, and I'll see you on the next clip. First, have some more hollyleaf redberry, Rhamnus salicifolia. Seen it quite a bit. Well, I haven't seen it in quite a bit, but yeah, it grows near sea level, and it grows up here about 6,700 feet. So pretty interesting. I'll see you on the next clip, probably right where I'm near the junction to get to Lion Peak. Hello, this is Brian again. Well, you notice the backpack is off. Why? Because it looks like I'm at my ducked route to get up to Lion Peak. So I've just been following the PCT, came down this way. You can see the PCT kind of swings its way. Becomes a lot less defined. The PCT not quite as well defined over here. I can see where I'm going to leave my backpack. Alright. So I noticed that when I was down over there by the PCT, I noticed a couple of rock ducks. So I guess I found my ascent route to get to Lion Peak. Should only have about a 200-foot climb from here. It's kind of tripping out. When I saw Lion Peak coming from this way, I saw a lot of rock outcrops and boulder bands. It looked like cliffs along the side. I'm thinking, it's not going to be technical, is it? Starting to think and wonder if that was going to be the case. Alright, so let's see. Like a little maze of little pathways here. You see a lot of dung on the floor. Alright. I guess I'll be looking for rock ducks. Hoping this is not going to be like class 3 and class 4 type stuff, because I didn't see that advertised. I'm not a big rock climber. You will know that about me. I may do long, crazy, and sometimes very steep class 1 and class 2 hikes. Occasional small class 3, but not really much of a mid-class 3 and up type of guy. Not that I couldn't in the future, but I thought Lion Peak was supposed to be class 1, unless I misread something. What was it? Pyramid Peak was no more than some very brief class 2 moves at the top. But here, it looks like we got a scramble. Well, let's see what's going on. This ends up becoming a little more technical. Might have to kind of shut down the camera. There's some Dudley down here. Not sure exactly what species that is. I'm not as fluent in the flora in this area because I haven't really been over here before. I mean, a lot of the plants I've seen along the way here are ones I've seen in other spots before. But that was some kind of a Dudleya I might not be too familiar with. I'll have to look that up. Very narrow, light bluish green leaves. I'll have to look that up. So I'm going to take my time going up this. Yeah, definitely it looks like it's going to be a bit of a rock scramble over here. Alright, let's see. Let's see what we got. Well, class 2 so far. Not too bad. Finally get some conifer action over here. A lot of coulter pine around here. Looks like there's a little pathway over here. So I'll just follow this little path here. See where it leads. Okay. Looks like I got to bust through over here. Yeah. Definitely getting tired. Starting to get worn out. Like I said, this is the longest hike I've done since spring of 2019. So it's been a while. I don't see much of this one today. It says pink-back manzanita. It says Arctostaphylos pringlei subspecies drupacea. I don't see much of that. I know you go over towards Idlewild, that shrub is everywhere. Pink-back manzanita is everywhere. But it's the only one I've seen up close so far today. Everything else was like Perry manzanita and stuff like that. So I see. At least we can get around the logs. So I wonder if this is... Oh boy. This is... kind of crazy over here. Guess we go up this way. Yeah. See the rock ducks. Well, pretty sure the rest of the way up is going to be similar to this. I'll check in at the top. Need to focus and make sure I don't get my butt turned around. So far, it's a pretty good ascent route. Honestly, this is a pretty good route. Other than, well, even logs aren't even that much of a detriment. Honestly. Just gotta whiz around them a little bit, maybe step over one or two of them. Let me see. You don't always want to be overly reliant on rock ducks, especially in areas that don't have Sierra Club peaks. Usually, in my experience, when I've gone up Sierra Club peaks, rock ducks are pretty safe to trust. But I've been on other off-trail routes in near random peaks and overlooks and whatever. Occasionally, you'll see a rock duck. Every now and then you'll see a rock duck. Maybe somebody was hiking cross country and wanted to leave it as a reminder of the pathway he or she went up. So, for the most part, if you're hiking up a Sierra Club HPS peak or any other Sierra Club type peak, you're probably going to be okay. Especially if it's a pretty well-known peak. If it's in the HPS, it's a pretty well-known peak. Then you can use, especially if the rock ducks are closely linked together. There are a lot of them here. Well, I'll catch you near the top of Lion. This will be my last peak of the day. I don't think I'm going to make another attempt at getting up to Pine. I'll see you near the top. Hello, this is Brian again. Well, nearly there on Lion Peak, almost. Really close. Quite a bit of scrambling coming up here. Most part, it doesn't get worse in Class 2. But I had one brief Class 3 move. Let's see. There's summit register. So here I am, it's official. Lion Peak. Third peak of the day. Could have been my fourth or fifth, but whatever. 6,868 feet. So it's the same elevation as Little Desert Peak. My first summit of the day. So yeah, that's looking towards Pine. I think I'm just going to leave that one alone. So you have to kind of walk around to get the views, because we're quite hemmed in by Canyon live oak over here. But pretty neat. First time doing this many peaks in a day in a long time. 3 peaks today. Like I said, it was almost going to be 5, or at least 4. But it's nice to be up here. So it looks like rock ducks come from different directions too. You can see there's some rock ducks over here on this side of the peak as well. I came up from this side over here. A lot of ducks, so getting up here, it's not going to be that bad. There we go. Standing on the high point right here. Again, this is Lion Peak. 6,868 feet. A lot more pines over here. Albeit a lot of these coulter pines are, looks like quite a few of them have died off in the last few years. Must be some kind of bark beetle thing going down right now. But when you get on this rock, the views open up quite a bit, because you're mostly above the chaparral. So this is continuing south on the Desert Divide. Again, the Santa Rosa Mountains, Toro Peak, Santa Rosa Mountain, Martinez Mountain. You can't see Rabbit Peak from here. Rabbit Peak is hidden behind Toro Peak and Santa Rosa Mountain. And of course, right next to the coulter pine, has Pyramid Peak. That was the second peak I did today. And of course, there's the San Jacinto High Country towards the San Jacinto Wilderness. And Thomas Mountain, Little Thomas Mountain. Way off in the haze is Santiago Majesca Peak, aka Old Saddleback. Lake Hemet Reservoir. And Gardner Valley down below. So you can get some pretty good views. Not much views towards the desert, except on this side here, as you're going past Martinez Mountain. And you get the Palm Desert area down there. A lot of agricultural areas down there, it looks like. And then these high desert foothills and lower mountains. And then Pinion Flats is a community. It's called, I think it's called Pinion Pines or Pinion Flats. Right down there. Elevation there is about 4,000 feet. And then Santa Rosa Mountain Truck Trail kind of winds its way around up to Santa Rosa Mountain. That hike, I actually hiked that whole distance from Highway 74. I hiked all the way up to Santa Rosa Mountains. It's a little more than 10 miles one way, so a little more, probably close to 20.5 mile round trip hike. And the elevation gain was about 3,500, so it's not extreme. It's not extraordinarily steep, but it was definitely a hike to wear you down. So here we are on top of Lion Peak, 6,868 feet. Probably not going to spend a lot of time because I want to start making some progress, start heading towards home. So far I've probably gone close to 5.5 miles. That includes the little side trip up to Pyramid Peak. The side trip up to Little Desert Peak really wasn't more than maybe about 40 yards at most. So I'm not even factoring that in. But you know what I gotta do? Gotta get my summit selfie. I gotta get back to logging my peak climbs on peakery.com. Peakery. I haven't done that pretty much this whole year. And I didn't do it much of 2020 either. I've been focusing more on uploading videos to YouTube. Before I started uploading videos, I was using Peakery for every even little hill climb. But I kind of need to start getting back into that, because I haven't been taking a lot of pictures. I've taken a few more today, but a lot of times I'll do a lot more video than pictures. So, what can I say? I will probably do some filming on the way back. Probably not a lot, at least not for this video set. I'm gonna unless I find some kind of wildlife or some kind of plant I want to point out. Probably gonna maybe I don't know exactly how many more videos. There should be probably at least one more, but I can't tell you how many exactly yet because I don't know. I already have tons of videos already recorded right now, but I don't know, maybe on the way down maybe there'll be a spotlight video. I don't know. Could be some possibilities for spotlight videos today, but so here it is, Lion Peak, 6,868, and I'll see you on the way down. Time to get some pictures and a selfie or two. Hello, this is Brian again. Well, I told you I wasn't going to be filming a lot on the way back. So there's Lion Peak again. I've really just started my trudge back. Well, I told you if I ever come across some interesting finds, especially when it refers to wildlife and botany, well, you know I'm going to take the time. Well, I don't know if you remember a video of mine where I recorded finding a plant near Pacifico Mountain at 6,400 feet, the highest elevation I've ever seen this plant. Well, I have found one that has beat it by a couple hundred feet. I'm probably close to 6,700 feet right now, and in front of me lies a common chamise, Adenosoma fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum, at just a few hundred feet below 7,000 feet. This is the highest I have yet to see common chamise. And here it is. None other than common chamise. And there are a few of them in this area. I can't believe I didn't notice this on the way up to Lion Peak. I was probably just focused on getting to the peak itself, but yeah, common chamise at nearly 6,700 feet elevation. This is the highest I've ever seen this plant. And yeah, we got a little stand of it here, mixed in with birch leaf mountain mahogany, Perianolina, canyon live oaks, and stuff like that. And yeah, there's more chamise right down here along here. So today, so far, the highest elevation I've ever seen, hollyleaf cherry at almost 6,600 feet, I believe. And the highest elevation I've ever seen common chamise at roughly about 6,700 feet. So today's been quite an interesting day. It's been a little bit of a slog getting up to there to the peaks, because I'm not used to hiking this long. It's been a while since I've done double-digit mileage hikes, so I'll get back into it, take my time. But today has been nothing short of a spectacular day here in the desert divide of the San Jacinto Mountains. I did not expect to see chamise this high up. Like I said, Pacifico Mountain, I saw it at 6,430 feet on right near where 3 and 17 meets up with the service road that gets up to the Pacifico Mountain campground. And then here we go again. Another botanical shocker in my book. I have never seen this plant this high up. Unbelievably, 6,700 feet. So yeah, my inner botany nerd is really wigging out right now. There's more of it over here too. It's actually kind of scattered all along the side here. I say we're a little bit up from that saddle. The saddle where I started ascending the use trail to Lion Peak, and that is at 6,600 something feet. So to see common chamise this high means it's even tough. It's a tough plant as it is, but it's even tougher than I thought, because it can get very cold over here, especially with the continental air masses here. I mean, of course, it's a south-facing slope, so you'd be more likely to see it than on a north-facing slope, but I just can't believe I didn't notice it on the way up. I'm usually very astute when it comes to plants, but see, I saw it on the way out. So usually on the way out, I'm usually already getting tired, and sometimes I become less cognizant of everything, and I'll be more likely to miss something. But no, maybe not, because I do happen to notice things on the way out that I didn't notice on the way in on quite a few hikes. But yeah, common chamise, 6,700 feet. So it makes me wonder, how high can that plant truly grow? Most descriptions of that plant list that as it being below 5,000 feet. Well, this is way above 5,000 feet. Where I started this morning at the bottom was above 5,000 feet. So this goes to show you, if you're really passionately interested in plants, you can really find some really neat surprises just by going out. I've had quite a few botanical surprises today, not gonna lie. It's been an awesome day. So it's been a crazy awesome day. I mean, I'm feeling tired after all this up and down, but just feels great to accomplish something, get out, hit some peaks. Been sorely lacking in my life. But also see some stuff I didn't expect to see. So yeah, common chamise at 6,700 feet. I think that'll wrap it up. One thing not to be surprised about, again, hollyleaf redberry. Been seeing quite a bit of this. Not a whole lot, but a fair amount. This one, just like chamise, can be found at sea level and all the way up here, well above 6,000 feet. So, Calflora, I'm going to be going on there today, probably tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be uploading videos and pictures today when I get home. But I think, well, I'm definitely going to put that chamise voucher. I mean, chamise is really, to me, not confusable with any other species. The closest one would be redshanks. There are actually a few redshanks in the area too. There are a couple of redshanks over in that spot as well. That's the highest I've seen them too as well. But for some reason, we always pictured redshanks being a little bit higher than chamise. But didn't expect chamise that high up. I'm going to go ahead and just keep on slogging along. Probably should have one more clip at the end. Probably a wrap-up clip. And I'll see you then. Unless I have something else to point out. Who knows? The way things are going today. This might end up being like a 10, 12 or more clip video set. Who knows? Well, see you on the next clip. Hello, this is Brian. Again, to another clip. Wow, look what I found. I'm near Peak 6880 and Pine Mountain. I didn't even notice this, but there's a rock duck here. Apparently it looks like something's been scuffed up there by feet. Honestly, I don't have the energy to climb up to another peak or two, but maybe for next time. So I guess that is where you branch off. I'm guessing you bushwhack through there. I guess maybe that'll lead you to finding the little trail or fire break that I could swear I saw on Peak 6880. Peak 6880 is about west from Pine Mountain. So you go up, it looks like there's a use trail that goes up, or a fire break or something that goes up to 6880. But when you go down the backside to towards the saddle between 6880 and Pine, the imagery on Google Earth just shows just wall to wall chaparral and woodland. So probably canyon live oak thickets like this. So basically near the crest of that little hill there, I've been doing mostly uphill for the last 10 minutes. Now I'm starting to do a little downhill, which feels good right now. Apparently that is where you branch off. From what I understand, reading people's reviews on the internet, like on all trails and stuff like that, to get up to Pine Mountain, it might be ducked, I don't know, but it's apparently supposed to be in need of some trail work, which of course it's not an official trail once you branch off of the PCT. So I just don't have the energy to try to go up it right now. I've already done 3 peaks. I've done what they call in hockey or in soccer when you score 3 goals in a game called a hat trick. I know they call it in hockey. I don't know if they call it in soccer, but in hockey, you get 3 goals, you get a hat trick. Well, I did 3 peaks today, which is a hat trick of hiking, peak climbing. So, would have been 5 or 4. Could have been at least 4 if I decided to go up that, but I'm good. I think I want to start making sure I have enough daylight to get down. I mean, I got a headlamp and a flashlight. It's one thing, especially for these longer hikes, it's always good to have a headlamp and a flashlight. The more the merrier, and more batteries than you'll need. I probably have too many batteries, but at least I got plenty of batteries in case I have to do this in the dark. Most of this stretch in the middle and upper portions of Cedar Springs Trail should present very little in the way of problems if you're hiking in the dark. However, if you're hiking the lower portion where the canyon is, sometimes the trail's very faint near where that meadow area is, where all those box elder maple trees were. So sometimes it gets a little faint in that canyon just above it and that meadow area. So it can be a little confusing, just so you know. It's more of that barberry. Huh. Really cool little low-growing plant. About its fruit, when it ripens, it's kind of like a grape. Sometimes they call this plant Oregon grape. A lot of our California natives, they'll call them Oregon grapes sometimes, or Mahonias. It used to be listed in the genus Mahonia, and a lot of old literature will list it as in the genus Mahonia. Again, I'm not 100% sure whether that's Berberis aquifolium variety dictyota or Berberis pinnata pinnata. Quick little look up at home will remedy that. Otherwise, I might have been tempted to do a spotlight, but I kind of want to do it when those bushes have fruit on them, because fruits are, when they ripen, they're an attractive purplish blue. Now comes the next question with that: are they edible? I keep finding conflicting things about that. Some people say yes. Some people say you shouldn't eat barberry fruits, or Oregon grapes, if you like to call them that. So, I've heard that they're edible, read that they're edible from quite a few sources, but quite a few other sources don't seem so sure about the edibility of it, so fortunately, can't really give you a good answer on that. It would be kind of neat. Honestly, to be honest, the way they look delicious. I've seen them before. You'll see them a lot of time in horticulture, the barberries. You'll see them in horticulture here on the West Coast. I've seen them planted in, there are some bushes near Knott's Berry Farm by La Palma Avenue in Orange County. They got some pretty tall Berberis plants there. And some of those cultivated ones get up to like 5 feet tall, much more upright than our wild ones that tend to be kind of sprawled out. So, and I've seen those ones by Knott's Berry Farm get fruit on them, and I've seen them in other spots too. They are found in horticulture. I'm not sure if if those are from the same species, maybe horticultural varieties, in other words cultivars of them. So I'm really not sure. They are quite a striking looking shrub. They get these kind of yellowish flowers in the spring. They're kind of small. They're in clusters. But if you take your time, take time to look at them, they're kind of neat looking, not gonna lie. Actually quite neat looking, to be honest with you. And again, then they get these little grape-like fruits that ripen to usually like a purplish color, purplish bluish. Quite attractive itself. I got to do some more research on what types of berberis are planted in cultivation. If they're related to our native species, or if they're foreign, or in other words, not from Southern California. But yeah, look at that divine view. I know I talk a lot about plants. There's a lot to this hike other than just the plants. And honestly, to me, today the plants have really been, for me, the star of the show, because it's just an incredible variety here in this beautiful chaparral. And believe me, I love chaparral. But also have peak climbing, some basic scrambling, good exercise, a good workout. It's not a really extremely hard hike, but for me and my fitness level, it's definitely quite a step up from what I've been doing. Like those little 3-4 mile hikes, 2-3-4 mile hikes that I've been doing. So it's definitely a big step up. First time in a while I've done a double-digit mileage hike. But this is how I start getting back into the old Brian from 2019. That's what I'm going to call myself, the old Brian. So yeah, that's peak 6880, I think, right there, and then Pine's over there. Pine Mountain looks very different from the other side. Looks really rugged, like a Sierra Nevada peak. Yeah. So anybody who just likes hiking in the mountains, the views, the scenery, the smells, the air, gonna find a lot to love about this hike. People who are into botany, especially local botany here in Southern California, are gonna find a lot to love about this hike. Especially for some of the surprise finds, or at least surprise to me, like finding chamise, like at 6,700 feet. Finally getting to see more barberries in the wild. So just a lot of cool stuff. And also get some good views from some of these peaks. But this hike has a lot to offer. You get a little bit of mileage. 10 miles, I could say it's a moderate mileage hike. For somebody who's been out of the loop for a while, it's a pretty decent one. So this is a really good package. This hike is a really good package deal if you want sights, awesome botanical finds, wildlife sightings if possible. A lot of chipmunks today. And I saw some domestic cattle down near the base of the trail. So seeing animals, plants, some good views, great exercise. This is very highly recommended. Well, I can't say that the next one will be my last one, but it might. My last one will be just a quick little wrap-up video. But who knows what I'm going to find on the way back. Something I missed on the way out. So, might be another video before the final one. I don't know. Otherwise, I'll see you on the way back, on the way down.